Well, the quest for competent communicator leads you through project number 6, vocal variety. This is probably one of the most challenging projects that's out there, right in the middle. Because for all of us, I think vocal variety is something that we are uncomfortable with. It takes a little bit of a stretch to use pitch, volume, pause. So Brian is going to take on this challenge today. His speech is 5 to 7 minutes. He has an interesting topic. Speaking of hunting, I'm sure he's hunting for some sort of self-fulfillment or action. His topic today is called, What Does It Mean to Be Proactive? What does it mean to be proactive? Let's welcome Brian Trent.
Thank you, Jeff. I'd like to start with one narrative to add to Jeff's introduction real quick before I start. And that I am not necessarily going to focus a whole lot on pitch today. I'm going to work on volume, especially after following Christine with her dramatics up here. I just wanted to make that point. So, for a monotone person, I just wanted to set expectations. Anyhow, so I love training. Unfortunately, most training courses I've taken fall a little bit short of expectations. But there has been one training course that has lived up to the expectations in every sense of the word. And that was the training that I took several years ago on the 7 habits of highly effective people. Many of you may know the book. It was a #1 national bestseller by Stephen R. Covey entitled The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. By show of hands, how many folks here have heard of that book or program? Who has read the book? Participated in the program? Okay. I figured most everyone would have heard of that. Of course, so in that book and in the program, there are 7 habits that anyone can use in their quest to be more effective and successful, not just in work, but in life in general. So now I'm going to give you each of those 7 habits, 1 per minute, starting. No, just it's going to be all I can do to cover just the first foundational habit in this speech, which is be proactive. So I'm going to cover what proactive really means, at least in the context of the 7 habits, and give you 3 tools that anyone can use to be more proactive in their life. First, wanted to look at the definition of proactive, at least by one online source. Proactive, creating or controlling a situation by causing something to happen rather than responding to it after it has happened. So again, controlling as opposed to responding, proactive as opposed to reactive. So it means more than simply taking initiative. It means that we are really responsible for our own lives. And we have that ability. So being proactive means to live life based on your values, making your decisions based on your values, not based on your feeling at the time, your mood, or impulses. You are making conscious decisions in your life based on your values. So tool number 1, and it seems simple, but trust me, I am attempt to use this one every day, and it's not always as easy as it sounds. But think of, every day we're bombarded by different stimulus, and oftentimes stressors, whether it's a disgruntled coworker, a child that is not behaving, right? So, or maybe even a bad driver on your way into work. You are hit with this stimulus, and out the other side comes your reaction. And it's just a fundamental thought process to think you have a choice between that stimulus coming in and your reaction. A lot of people are quick to judgment, quick to react. But everyone has, in that little space and time between the stimulus and the reaction, the ability to choose how you're going to react. Are you going to react based on impulse or anger, or are you going to consciously decide how you're going to act before doing it? A lot of times people, it's the thought of take a deep breath before reacting. And believe it or not, you may not, for those of you that know me a little bit, It may come as a little bit of a shock, but I'm actually a little bit quick-tempered, especially when it comes to my 4- and 6-year-old children. My 4-year-old son particularly knows how to push my buttons. And I'm always trying to follow this tool. Just this past week, I was up in his room and he said, "Oh, Daddy, did you follow the red dots to find me?" No idea what he's talking about, and he points to the wall, and there's red dots. And I traced it out the room, down the hall, and he's taking a little stamper, and he stamped all the way up the stairs over to his room. I said, "Brendan, what did you do?" He goes, "Oh, I didn't do it." And immediately, you know, I was just enraged, right? And so I pick him up. I'm taking him. It's not like I'm gonna, you know, we choose not to spank, but I'm gonna take him and I'm gonna put him down in that timeout chair, right? He's gonna sit there, you know, and he's crying and trying to hold on to the stair rails as we're going down, you know, and my wife can see I'm just livid, and I sit him down there, and he's crying, and I'm upset, and you just realize, you know, it may seem totally normal response that I had, but there was a way more productive way to sit down and talk with him instead of the rush decision. So I still struggle. But for as simple as it sounds, it's actually a very powerful tool to realize that you do have that choice, a choice of how to respond. The second tool is just to be aware of the language we use and how that affects you know, your actions and your decisions. I'm going to give you some words and phrases that are viewed as more reactive and then kind of more proactive. So people that might say, "Oh, it's just the way I am. I am who I am. I can't help it. There's nothing I can do about it. I just don't have the time." Or, "I can't. I have to. If only." On the alternative to that, we have more of the proactive way to look at it. I can choose a different approach. I'm not necessarily just I am who I am. I control my own feelings. Let's look at our alternatives. Or instead of "I can't, I have to, if only," more like "I choose," or "I prefer," or "I will." And Stephen Covey makes the point that reactive language becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you start to believe it and build on it, and you start to feel that you're not in control, and that you may be even a feeling of victimization. So it is important that you're looking at the proactive view, and even just using proactive words, as opposed to using words and feeling that you don't have control, because we all do have control. Lastly, the third tool, a test of our awareness of proactivity, is envision 2 circles, a larger outer circle and a smaller inner circle. And the outer circle is termed the circle of concern. And it's things that we have no control over. The weather, there may be a flight delay, other natural forces, or specifically also mistakes of the past. A lot of times we can't get away from them. So those are in the circle of concern. We can't address those. But in the middle is a circle of influence. It's the things you do have control over. It's your family. It's your it's your job. And what you find is proactive people focus on that circle of influence. They don't worry about the circle of concern, because you can only improve your life and be more effective in that circle of influence. And the more you work in that circle of influence, the more you expand. Whereas if you're focusing on the circle of concern, you're taking energy away from the time you could spend on the circle of influence. So those are the 3 tools. Again, it's to realize that for every stimulus that comes in, you do have a choice on how you're going to respond or react. And using proactive language and understanding you do have control. And finally, to focus on the things that you do have influence over, not to worry about the world, the circle of concern. So again, being proactive is more than just taking charge. It's understanding that we alone have the ability to take complete responsibility for our lives and to effectively choose to deal with stress and distractions. And we all have that power. Thank you very much.